qui cherchait l'étoile. This is my walk to work every day. Get a view of the Mississippi, the bridge. It's not bad. Pretty great, honestly. Can't complain. So a pretty peculiar situation just transpired where as I was walking up to get my food from the grocery store, I almost like filmed, I guess, the sign outside, that there was a guy about like starting to ride his bike, and I was like, oh, I don't want to seem weird and like I'm taking a video of him, so I didn't. And then like after I get my food, I'm sitting down outside, and some guy is like asking around. He's like, did anyone see someone stealing a bike? I was like, it was literally the guy. Little dog, come here. Okay, so I don't have a tripod or anything like that, so hopefully soon. But for now, you know, this is kind of the angle you're gonna get of me. All of the clips from that video are from last Thursday, and that day after work, my bosses and I had like a little celebration. I work in an office with 3 people consisting of my 2 bosses and me. So our office party was the 3 of us. And after that, I just got a little, you know, I was drunk, because I'm not to be like, I'm so small petite. However, you know, Miss Sabrina Carpenter's Short and Sweet Tour, all the songs were actually written about me, little known fact. And so then I went home and I had a very important date with my favorite twins, Mary and Jane, and so I did not record anything. I want to provide, you know, more information to the people who I'm sure are like at the edge of their seat, waiting, biting their nails, some of them even crying, like just rocking back and forth because they're so waiting to hear what happened. I obviously, if you haven't like picked up on this yet, I live in New Orleans, duh, and which is in the state of Louisiana, duh. And outside of New Orleans, it's very Republican, culturally Catholic. I don't know if more people are now like Baptist or just Christian. I'm not necessarily up on the lore, I suppose. So my 2 bosses are a married gay couple, and I didn't know that when I applied to work at this little nonprofit. On my applications that I sent out to like places in Louisiana for this internship that I'm currently doing, I removed anything that like seemed liberal at all. So I'm pretty sure like anything on my like there was no trace of me being gay on my application. So I think they are as happy as I am that I have gay bosses and they have a little gay intern. Like it's works out really well. I feel like it's very good for the culture. And so at our little office party, we're drinking wine, which is beautiful. And that like meme that's like every gay hangout ends with watching music videos, just immediately we're watching music videos. Immediately first thing that happens. And they had never seen Addison Rae before, which is crazy because that's my Lafayette Cajun princess. Like, are you kidding? So I showed them the Aquamarine music video because, are you fucking kidding? The choreography, incredible. The costumes, incredible. Like, hello. And then they were watching it and they were like, oh my god, some of this was filmed in New Orleans, which I didn't know. I thought it was all filmed in Paris. Apparently not. Anyway, so then I showed them Aquamarine and they were like, I'm obsessed with this. And then I showed them the Headphones On music video, which I did not tell them this, but that is what made me start smoking cigarettes, I fear. It wasn't that specifically, but, well, and then one of my bosses was like, is she a lesbian? And I was like, ugh, I wish. No, she's not. And he was like, the jury's not out on that yet. I was like, please. Ugh, if Addison Rae was a lesbian, we'd be the perfect power couple. Maybe not. I don't know how much I would be bringing to the table. But I would really love that. By the way, I've been cutting up, I don't know if I said this, but I've been cutting up this little beaded necklace, which I got on New Year's on Bourbon Street, to be seeds for my strawberry from the past video. If you haven't seen it, go watch the video. I'm supposed to be in the video. I love that clip. Anyway, so the other thing that we were talking about is just like how being gay on a college campus has changed from their time to my time. My bosses are like in their mid-30s. One of them graduated in 2014. I assume they're like close in age. They were like, oh, like, what is like the gay population like at Dartmouth, like, and what is it like being gay nowadays on a college campus? Because when they were gay, this was before Oberfeld, or I believe Oberfeld is how you say it. Clearly I need to refresh my gay knowledge. One of my bosses was there at the Supreme Court, or like outside when they decided it, which is crazy. It was just crazy to hear them talk about it and like ask me about like the trans population at Dartmouth, because they were like, there were literally like no trans people at our school, not like a single one. And like if they were, then like they did not talk about it to anybody. And I was like, that's crazy, because there are like several openly trans people at Dartmouth. And obviously, I mean, of course the population could be bigger. I can probably count the number like on both of my hands. But that is certainly more than zero. Final thing I wanted to mention that I thought was really funny was we started watching Eurovision, which I don't understand like how so many gay people love Eurovision. I've never like got on the Eurovision train, I suppose. It left the station, I was on the platform. I was waving goodbye. I had a little handkerchief. I was like, I just thought that was really fucking funny. Like, we were just like three gay people drinking wine in the middle of New Orleans, watching fucking music videos. And like, I mean, I'm also like bisexual. Like, I have dated many men. I definitely have a different experience than like someone that is a lesbian would. But as like a young queer person, I feel like obviously the majority of narratives that we see in the media and like even in my personal life, like, you know, I have a straight couple as parents, and like I don't really know anybody that has gay parents, so it's hard oftentimes to envision like a life of being married to a woman and having kids. Not that my bosses don't have kids, but like, you know, they have a life together, like they have a house and they've been married for 10 years, and it's just so refreshing and comforting and exciting to see that every day and be able to envision my own future through seeing them and be like, it is possible. Not only like is it possible to have a like queer life, but also to do that in a state that is Republican. For a long time I didn't really identify with Louisiana because I felt like being queer and being Cajun were like two oppositional identities. But one of my bosses is queer and Creole, and like clearly it can be done. The really cute dog that I showed was their dog. He's literally perfect. I'm obsessed with him. Like, this is like what I say about my job when I describe it to people. I'm like, basically I'm like the assistant to this gay married couple who has the tiniest, most perfect dog ever that just like sits in my lap and like lays down while I do work. One of my bosses, he was like, yeah, like I saw this meme that was like, when I die I want to be reincarnated as the dog of a gay couple. And I was like, me too. Like that's the life. Yeah, I think that's probably the end of what I have to say today. And I think I have another date with Mary and Jane waiting for me. So have a wonderful, beautiful, perfect night of sleep. And I hope as soon as your head hits the pillow, you pass out cold and then wake up so refreshed that you're like, wow, like you just drank a bottle of Fiji water. Wait, isn't Fiji water is my personal favorite water? Some people don't like it, but I like it. Anyway, okay,